We got a lot to talk about today. NFL trades happening. Cam Akers to the Vikings, huge. Davante Adams, a Jet. Amari Cooper, a Buffalo Bill. Dalton Kincaid, is he dead now? What's up, everybody? It's the Liam and Davis show. Davis and Liam show. Really depends what your viewpoint is there. Davis, how you doing today?
Luckily, the Kansas City Chiefs bye week did not obliterate my advance rate because none of them were scoring any points anyways. So that's beautiful. Actually, it turns out when your players go on bye and they're bad, it doesn't matter. It's great. It actually just does not matter. So that is awesome.
Yeah, it was a pretty, I would say, bad to neutral week for my bags. Some bad is I drafted a lot of cheap Jerome Ford. He hurt his ankle, so don't even have like hopes of getting 8 points there. Some good, had a lot of Ray Davis, with also some James Cook, so that kind of washes out. Brandon Ayuk didn't score well, but I kind of just drafted all the 49ers, so like Kittle scoring well kind of helped me. How Chase Brown had a good week. That had to be good for you. Wicks is hurt. I don't know the severity there.
Wicks is probably going to go on the IR.
Really? Okay.
I guess the way I feel now is when people say week to week, that just means IR to me. Like Nico Collins went from day to day to week to the IR. So if I hear week to week, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, I mean the Christian Watson versus Wicks whirlwind, where like as a Watson drafter, I was like, man, I just want to see it. And then I was like, okay, he's going on IR when I see that tackle. And now he returns and catches like a 50-yard touchdown.
The Watson thesis is playing out in real time. So shout out to the Christian Watson drafters. Actually, weirdly, Christian Watson ended up on a bunch of my teams that are in like second or third place or whatever. So that one was probably weirdly good for me, even though I don't like Christian Watson, but it's it is what it is.
Well, let's start with the Davante Adams trade. Let's start there because I think the Cooper trade will be a bigger discussion, a little bit more contentious, if you would. I've read the opinions that Davante Adams is a death blow to Garrett Wilson. Now it's over for him. My personal opinion there is, do I think Rodgers is going to hook up with Adams in the red zone a lot? Yes, right? Like, I think that's where understanding each other is an inherent advantage where windows are tight. But I think Davante Adams on the field versus a Mike Williams, Allen Lazard can maybe open up the field for Garrett Wilson to just generate more explosive plays and just generally have a higher scoring offense. What is your opinion on the Adams trade to the Jets? Would you rather have Adams or Garrett Wilson straight up? And is it Jover for Garrett Wilson?
So it's not Jover. The interesting thing is, I was looking at this yesterday. Aaron Rodgers famously hates to play fast. The Packers, every year he was there, they're like 31 in pace of play, 32 in pace of play, 31 in total plays. The Jets, they're basically middle of the pack in all of that. And you might go, oh God, that means it's time. It's time for Garrett Wilson. It's Aaron Rodgers throwing for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. So I actually think this would be the pessimist in me. Well, the reason why is they've been down in all these games. They suck. They're 2-4. They don't have the luxury of like they're down 10-0 every game. Every game they're just immediately down because Rodgers takes a bad sack or someone fumbles or the defense gives up a big play. Well, they're definitely a better football team if you replace all Mike Williams snaps with Davante Adams, who, to me, probably this is actually an unpopular opinion. I think it's just been so long since we've seen Davante Adams play meaningful games. People forget how good he is. He's got an argument to be just every bit as good and efficient as Justin Jefferson.
He's 31, brother. He's 31.
So that's the big thing. he doesn't provide the
He is
explosives.
31. Let's pump the brakes there.
So he doesn't provide the explosives, but you could argue that's worse for Garrett Wilson because then you just have these 9-minute drives that can only result in one touchdown, a lot of running. They're going to continue to run the ball. The other thing that was interesting though was Todd Downing. Everyone like really panned this. They're like, "Oh, Todd Downing, he was with the Titans. They were terrible." It was the most play action and the most pre-snap motion they'd used in any
Yeah.
game against the Bills. Ultimately, I land at if Lazard can go down to a 15% target share guy, then your Garrett Wilson bags can be okay. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's what
I
Rodgers is
mean,
going to do.
we are primarily talking about best ball here, right? So if the acquisition of Davante Adams sacrifices some 10-point floor games from Garrett Wilson, but generates more 25-point games, I think that washes out, right? Where you really what you want is the big games. Is a stable floor nice where at least you have one of your wide receiver spots filled? Yes, it's nice. Could this go really bad for them? Yes, but I personally think the Jets, I still think they're going to make the playoffs. They're 2-4. I think both the Bengals and Jets can go on a run here. They have a very easy schedule upcoming here. They're a good team, right? They have talent everywhere on their team.
I don't think they're a good team. I think
Rodgers isn't the problem though, right? Like it's not like we're like watching like, oh, Rodgers is like the letdown here. What let them down against the Bills? Their run defense, like I guess I would say. Now they did get a Hail Mary, like that's not exactly reputable.
Rodgers is definitely not peak Rodgers though, is the thing. Like
he's not.
It's the thing where you can see the shades of the guy that he is, but he's not 100% Rodgers.
He's not as mobile is the thing where when you're not as mobile, when you can't move around in the pocket, everything just needs to be a little bit more precise. Before we move on, did you have any takeaways of him? Yes, Pat Mahomes. Yes, Josh Allen. Hey, MVS let you down there. What are they going to say? They're going to say, oh, I should have thrown the ball better. There's other plays. Yes, you ask Aaron Rodgers, what happened at the end of the game? He says, Mike Williams is supposed to run the red line. He didn't. And so
to me, frankly, it's embarrassing that a player as good as Aaron Rodgers, basically, this is what we think of him. It's kind of like, you know what it is? It's very similar to how, weirdly, it's how Favre's career ended. Like, no one likes Favre.
Dude, they're such kindred spirits. Like, that must have been the dumbest quarterback room of all time.
I'm telling you guys, I think probably most of the people here are too young to remember Favre, but my granddad grew up in Wisconsin, has the fake Packers, shareholder thing. Like that, like he loved this. I read Brett Favre's autobiography. Like Favre he never was as good as Rodgers, but he was like such an entity. But the way that he ended his career and now his post-playing career just makes everyone hate him. And to me, honestly, it's sad that Rodgers went that way.
No, he kind of ended it well. Like he went on a couple playoff runs with the Vikings. Like he was a fun. People think bad of Favre because of him scamming welfare for like $1 million and like sending dick pics and things like that.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do.
He's just an asshole.
Yeah, it had nothing to do with the late season. Like the late season earned him favor, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, he's not
Rodgers is starting it early then. Rodgers is starting the villain arc early. And to me, so it's so funny. I've had this long history with Aaron Rodgers where like I used to be way back when my fantasy career started. I was like, you guys don't understand how good Rodgers is. He's actually incredible.
I drafted him in the first round in my like college draft freshman year. Like before I like knew anything, I was like, with my home league, my college league, I was like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, first round, let's go.
Like basically same kind of arc for me. Like I loved Aaron Rodgers. Then there was that middle of the career period, like 2015 to 2018, where Rodgers was really bad. The Packers weren't winning any games. It was before Adams broke out, basically. And I was like, I don't know this guy. And then he chased my friend out of the league. He basically like Aaron Rodgers or Jeff Janis bails him out in a playoff game, and then he throws him under the bus and says, Jeff doesn't know the routes. Jeff doesn't know the playbook. We got to get Jake Kumaro in. So I've never really forgiven him for
Was
that.
Jeff Janis on your podcast or something? Like, I didn't know you
Yeah.
at the time. Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Oh, it was a whole thing.
Dude, there's a rough track record for your podcast guests. Dylan Lobby, first carry fumble.
Brian Hill. Brian Hill.
Who's the Tampa guy? Patrick
Laird.
Yeah.
A couple guys who came on my podcast on the PGA Tour won afterwards. Dylan Fratelli came on my podcast and then won a PGA Tour event. So it's not all down to zero. But basically, I think it's sad that a player who has been as integral of a story to the National Football League in my adulthood, basically no one likes him. Do Jets fans even like him?
Well, here's what I'll say. Like, I think, okay, the COVID stuff, like that is a different, like that is why Rodgers is unlikable to many, is just like the that guy who thinks he's so smart, listening to documentaries, like, all that sort of stuff. I personally, I'm kind of tired of hearing it's on me. Like, that's just so bland. I think it's a little refreshing to hear, like, and it's nice to hear as a fan, like, no, Mike Williams, like, you watch that play and you don't know, and you're like, okay, Rodgers just underthrew Mike Williams there to end the game. And then you hear Rodgers just tell the truth, which was, no, Mike Williams ran the wrong route and I had to adjust the throw. Is that going to curry favor with Mike Williams? No, but he's trying to set the standard. I talked to Ron Stewart a lot, a Jets fan, and if I was a Jets fan, I would just be down to go down with the ship with Rodgers. Like, it's really hard to build a defense and have them stay at the top of the league forever, right? Like, the Jets defense was elite. It's still very good. It's no longer top 3, in my opinion. They've lost some guys. And so, yeah, they have like a year or two to try to cash in with Rodgers. So if Rodgers wants to have Davante Adams, give it to him, right? Like, I don't know.
No brainer trade for the Jets. Complete no brainer trade for the Jets.
Dumb not to do it before the Bills game, though. Like, that was a huge game that they could have stole a win there.
Honestly, that was a must-win game for both teams. I sort of feel like that was like a huge.
I think
swing.
both teams will be fine because, like, they kind of have easier schedules, but it is a big game as far as like making the playoffs, winning your division. All right, let's move forward here. Jets, are they a playoff team to you before we move on?
The AFC just seems bad.
It's Chargers and Steelers are like holding the bottom spots, right?
Yeah,
like
the
Colts
Jets
are a playoff team right now. The 3-3 Colts.
Yeah. If that's the case, like, even the Bengals could make the playoffs still.
I think the Bengals. I mean, I don't know. That Giants game was concerning, actually. Like, they should have lost that game, I think.
Zach Taylor, not a very good coach.
Yeah. All right. So, Amari Cooper traded to the Bills. We get this gem of a tweet from Davis. I'm assuming this was a lot of engagement farming here, where he says, Amari Cooper traded to the Buffalo Bills. Double sirens on both sides. Sends Dalton Kincaid to Pitts level 0. Shakir, useless. Keon Coleman, a drop in 12-man, 16-man rosters. Giant win for Amari if Joe Brady rediscovers the forward pass. To be determined. Not bothering to do the Browns. Who cares? And so I checked it out. Amari Cooper sends Dalton Kincaid and Khalil Shakir to 0. And then here were the, after the Bills bye, Bills in must win here, weeks 14 through 18. This included games against the Cowboys, where they just ran the ball the whole time. They played the Chargers. They played the Pats. Kincaid, 36 PPR points. Khalil Shakir, 32 PPR fantasy points. Stephon Diggs, 46. And with all due respect to Amari Cooper.
That's really bad for all of them. That
all
right
due respect
there.
to Amari Cooper, he's no Stephon Diggs. Now, Stephon Diggs was maybe hurt here, but okay. So Cooper, he's like last in ESPN open score. Now, I think that ESPN Analytics, I think that the ESPN Analytics has issues for many reasons. It's not perfect. If we're being generous to Cooper, we're going to pretend that he quiet quit on the team. And honestly, like Amari Cooper is just flat out better than Matt Collins and MVS. So replacing those routes with Amari Cooper, where you don't even really need to get that open. Josh Allen's going to hit you in the hands. Just catch the ball. And Cooper can still do that. But at the same time, I don't think Cooper will be this like target dominant 30% target share guy on the Bills. And hopefully it opens up the field for Kincaid and Shakir, quite like Adams could open it up for Garrett Wilson. Davis, thoughts?
Yeah, to me, I mean, that just seems like a lot of copium. And the issue isn't even really Dalton Kincaid, although, fun fact, Kyle Pitts does have more fantasy points than Dalton
Maybe
Kincaid
Mark
right
Andrews
now.
does. He caught a touchdown.
Yeah, so maybe I shouldn't have sent him to Pitts level 0. I should have sent him to Zach Ertz level 0. Zach Ertz more targets than Dalton Kincaid on the season. This is the issue. The issue in my tweet is that the Buffalo Bills, to my eye, have no interest in passing the ball.
That's a different
often.
discussion. That is a greater discussion there. Versus like I agree. Like if the Bills are going to be run heavy, it's hard for anyone to get there, right? Dalton Kincaid has a 30% target share, right? Like as far as like advanced numbers, if you would there, all the advanced numbers are elite, right? And his fantasy game was fine. 6 receptions, 50 yards. Like that is a good tight end week. Didn't get a touchdown, is what it is. If the Bill, in my personal opinion of the Bills is they are matchup based. So you look at a team like the Jets, and are they going to say, hey, I want to pass against Sauce Gardner a lot? No, they have like one of the best O-lines in the league. They're going to run the football. Now they couldn't really get the pass going against the Ravens at all. I don't know. We could throw out one game, but the other hope is that maybe Amari Cooper, quite like you alluded to, you look at Matt Collins, maybe you pass a little bit more with Amari Cooper. So I do agree it is up in the air as far as like what the Bills, like they are, I think they're like 31st or something in run percent on like first down. Like it is very like old school, establish the run football for Buffalo right now, which that's a greater issue than like the skill level of these players.
Yeah. I mean that you did just like that's what my tweet's saying. My tweet is saying there's not enough.
That is not what this tweet is saying. This tweet is saying Amari Cooper is so good that now Kincaid is a 0. Shakir useless. I mean, like, what is the base Bills offense to you? To me, it's Keon on the outside and Cooper. And
but Keon can't get open.
Keon there's really no change, though. There's really no change to Keon. Okay, if we're talking manage, is he startable? No. But in best ball, he's still going to have some big plays. He's still going to have some touchdowns. I think Shakir will still be like Shakir might straight up outscore Amari Cooper, or Kincaid. Like I think I don't know. I have hopes that it can just have the Bills lean more pass heavy. This was the only move they could make, by the way, because Amari Cooper is getting paid like $860,000 for salary this year. So the Bills had no cap space to get like a Davante Adams. Bills schedule. See if we get any run heavy games here. Titans, probably not. Seahawks, maybe. Dolphins, probably not.
Why would they not be run heavy against the Titans? They're like 7.5-point favorites against the worst quarterback in the league.
No, I said pass heavy.
Oh, pass heavy. They could be pass heavy against the Seahawks. They could be pass heavy against
maybe
the Chiefs. They could be pass heavy
maybe,
against the
maybe.
Bills.
No, the Bills and the Chiefs are like, this is going to be a 2017 game.
Yeah.
Like, so that's not really good for either. Like they're both going to try to ball control. 49ers, maybe. Rams, maybe. Lions should be pass slanted. Patriots, probably not. Jets, probably not. So I don't know. I'm excited about it. Did I draft a lot of
excited as a fan because the big issue was their wide receivers suck. Like that, the issue
exactly. Yes.
So the issue is that Kincaid, Shakir, Curtis Samuel, MVS Hollins, like it's 2023 Chiefs. They just don't have anyone good.
Arguably, like when Shakir
definitely worse because there's no Kelsey.
When Shakir missed that game, Dalton Kincaid, by the way, by the way, better ESPN analytics than Kincaid or than Kelsey. But when Shakir missed that game against the Ravens, and I looked at a wide receiver room of MVS, Mac Hollins, Keon Coleman, I was like, oh no one can separate. And then you see the Texans game, and Derek Stingley is like matched up with Kincaid. That's not what you want, right? You want Amari Cooper. You want the defense to respect someone to catch the ball deep. And if Amari Cooper does that and opens up the middle of the field, that's huge for all the ancillary Bills guys. More fantasy points.
It's only huge if they. So right now, not only Liam are they negative PROE, which is insane with Josh Allen as your quarterback, but they're also the other thing is the OE part. People miss the OE part in PROE and pass rate over expectation.
Expectation.
They miss what the expectation is. The expectation is also quite low because the Bills just it's a game state thing. They're winning and they are playing conservative football. And if you play conservative football, you put yourself in a situation to not be passing.
That's kind of how the league's trending though, right? Like
sure.
we have the Bengals and we have the Seahawks and I guess the Bucks. Like these are your faces of some pass happy teams. So I don't know. I'm excited for Buffalo. I'm excited to see it. I think Amari Cooper will have some big games. I think they'll all have some big games. They're all better in best ball, as are most players, honestly, at a certain extent. Like, who are your non-better in best ball guys? Chris Godwin, I guess. The first round wide receivers, right? Like Marvin Harrison Jr. is better in best ball. Yeah, Wandale, right? Like Marvin Harrison Jr., a second round pick, is a better in best ball player.
Well, Marvin Harrison Jr. was just, I think we can all admit now, with the sake of clarity, he was like one of the worst picks on the board.
Wasn't great. I mean, and this is a soft reset year for Buffalo where they had
ADP
a lot.
Was ahead of Nico Collins, who we watched do it.
It was next to it, but yes, I agree.
He was the wide receiver 9. Nico was the wide receiver 10. I know that because I have 18% Nico because I had Nico ranked over Marvin Harrison Jr.
We had our first debate back in the offseason was Garrett Wilson or Nico. And then you came to the good side there. I didn't.
Liam, I need for all the viewers. I need you to admit this is bad for Kincaid. I need you to be honest.
Dude, it is not. It is not. It's just what Kincaid not getting covered by the best corner is bad for him. I think Kincaid can't score touchdowns, he can't score fantasy points. That's just absurd.
Do you want to buy out of our Bowers versus Kincaid touchdown bet?
Well, I don't even remember the bet, to be honest with you, but no. No, I mean, okay, I know the crowd's going to be with you because they want to. But Davis has declared Chase Brown dead week 1. He declared Dontavian Wicks dead, and then he's back, right? Riding the waves.
But here's a secret about fantasy football analysis. It's a lot easier to declare guys
react
dead
to exactly what happened this past week.
Well, because about 11 guys matter in fantasy football in a given season. So if you just say everyone's dead, then you're only going to be wrong about 4 times in a season.
Yeah, I mean, fair. It is it is easier to fade players because so few players are smashes. But look, is Kincaid going to be a 20 point per game guy? No, right? I think probably only Kelsey without Rashee Rice can get there, and probably not even him. Juju Smith-Schuster is going to have some games. But it's not let's not pretend Amari Cooper, 30-year-old Amari Cooper is Rashee Rice or is Nico Collins, right? He is going to have some games. He's also going to open up the field. That is just knowing football. Is a defense going to respect Mac Hollins running a go route, or are they going to respect Amari Cooper? They're going to respect Amari Cooper. So no, I don't think it. I think it honestly could be a good thing, and time will tell. Time will tell. We'll revisit this.
The thing, it's going to be really bad for his volume in general, in my opinion. But I will say this: you could end up being right that if Amari Cooper is awesome and Amari Cooper is like a 24% target share guy, not a 28% target share guy, they could just end up being a more productive offense, and Kincaid can score 8 touchdowns or something.
100%. Like, Matt Collins has probably like 200 yards dropped on the season. And if you catch those, okay, now you're in the red zone, and now you maybe score touchdowns. Now, Matt Collins is still going to play some. He's a good blocker. So when the Bills want to run the ball, he's going to be on the field for that. But no, I think it's probably worse for Coleman, who will still have some spikes, but he was like cheapish. I don't think it's that bad for Shakir or Kincaid.
Well, Shakir he just doesn't matter.
Shakir, the guy who has the #1 EPA per target in the NFL. Yeah, he's terrible. No, he got hurt, and
I just mean for fantasy, like he doesn't matter. He's the third target on a run heavy offense that also runs a shit ton inside the 10. That's another.
No, it's Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen is the reason why they run inside the 10, right?
Sure, but Josh Allen is his quarterback.
Exactly. But no, I think no one is going to be. I mean, maybe Cooper could be this 24% target share. I think more likely it's going to be 20% Kincaid, 20% Shakir, 20% Cooper, and then
no, Cooper is not going to have the same target share as Khalil Shakir.
Okay, so targets per game for Cooper, Kincaid, and Shakir to you. How about that?
24% target share for
no, just strict targets.
I don't know how to do that math.
Just
what is
between like 6 and 8?
25% of 30 is 7.5. So 7.5 targets per game for Cooper, 5.2 for Kincaid, 4.1 for Shakir.
I think I'd take over on all of those just a little bit.
Obviously, yes, he would, Liam.
Well, I mean, I think 30 is a little bit low base expectation, but maybe not.
What is Josh Allen pass attempts per game right now?
I don't have that number written
right
down.
now. Josh Allen has only attempted more. He has not attempted.
What was his 2023 pass attempts per game? Although that's super skewed from the Dorsey to Brady switch.
His 2023 pass attempts per game, 579 divided by 17, 34. Yeah. So I mean, I'm telling you, man, Liam, this is so funny. You are in the phase where I was at with the Chiefs about 4 weeks ago of being like, they're going to figure it out.
Because my guys aren't all hurt.
Xavier Worthy's going to blah, blah, blah. No, dude, they're going to run the ball. They're going to play defense. They're going to win every game by 3 points or 4 points, and they're going to get to the playoffs because that's all that matters.
I don't think they're trying to win games by 3 points. And so base expectation, you're not worried at all about Amari Cooper being literally last in the NFL based on ESPN analytics. Like, you think he
literally could not imagine, because the first reason being those numbers, it is going to be impossible to separate them from quarterback play. I don't care what you say. There's no way.
Cooper Kupp is bottom on the list.
Well, I mean, Cooper Kupp played like
with Stafford. I mean, yeah, small sample, but I'm just saying there are, like, I agree there's a lot of flaws with it for several reasons, but I don't know. I just don't think Amari Cooper is, like, he's not in the same breath of Stephon Diggs from last year. Like, he is, I don't know. Maybe he's like this year's Marvin Harrison Jr.-esque type of player. Probably a little bit worse. Now, maybe
the thing is Diggs was playing so bad, but he kept getting the targets. Like, Diggs was a
Diggs was hurt. Diggs hurt his oblique in London, and then played through it.
But he kept getting the targets. He just was bad.
Targets did go down after Brady.
Shakir had more yards than him after the London game. Yeah, I just I gotta be I know what is happening here, which is that you are at where I have been, and it's better for you to just you should be so stoked. Amari Cooper is a really good football player.
I am excited, and I think it gives breath to Kincaid. I think it opens up the field, right? I think we're going to see some big
Let
passing
me
games
tell you
from
this.
Josh.
If the Chiefs traded for Amari Cooper, I would be like, fuck, Xavier Worthy is so dead.
That's not the same thing because Xavier Worthy is not a target dominant player, period. The Chiefs are forcing touchdowns to him. The long touchdowns I'll give to him. A rushing touchdown at the 5-yard line is 100% the Chiefs wanting to get him a touchdown, period. Right? Like, do you think the Chiefs think Xavier Worthy getting rushing attempts at the 5-yard line is the best way to score there? Absolutely not. Right? Like they want to get their first round pick going. They want to give him some mojo, if you would.
Yeah, I mean, I just think he doesn't. He basically is only ever played video game
Xavier
football.
Worthy would be clear third, if not fourth, in target share if Amari Cooper landed with the Chiefs. He'd be after Kelsey.
Big time.
He'd be after Cooper, and he might even be after Juju. Right?
Dude, this
that's
Juju
not
thing.
That's not the scenario for the Bills. Like
my
Kincaid
this Juju thing.
Kincaid is he could still be first in target share, and if he's not, he'll be 1B. He's not going to be like fourth in target share.
I just don't think Dalton Kincaid is any good, honestly. That's
no.
Really
this is your base bias is that you don't.
I didn't like him as a prospect either.
Well, we didn't really. I wish we got the combine numbers on him. We didn't.
They wouldn't be very good. He doesn't look very bursty to me.
He looks pretty decent to me. I don't know. I think we'll see some big games. Time will tell, and we will talk about it. First round picks. Jefferson hits his bye. I don't remember last week. I think he was at like 30%. Chase doesn't have a blow-up game. Lost 10% as well. Tyreek somehow is still pacing decently. Lamb, perfectly average. CMC, bad. Bijan and Brees both get back to average after having good weeks. Amon-Ra keeps on scoring touchdowns, which will keep you alive in half point. A.J. Brown has a big week. Garrett Wilson, probably going down. Gibbs, pretty meh. And Puka Nacua, staying alive somewhat. Any big takeaways about some first-round pick advance rates?
That A.J. Brown number is going way up. He's played 2 games, and he's averaging 25 fantasy points per game.
Oh, yeah.
Nacua probably won't be back to, like, week 9 or 10 at best. Weirdly, I think the Gibbs number also, like, it's only being buoyed by the fact that so many other bad picks are there.
It's got to go up, though. Like, he's going to have some big games.
He's got to have an explosion game, but I don't know. I guess we like I actually had more Montgomery than Gibbs. I think I'd have to go check for if that's true in BBM. But man, David Montgomery, he just keeps.
Well, and the other issue is when Jamison Williams catches an 80-yard touchdown, that takes away a scoring opportunity from everyone, right? So if he's going to continue to do that, that is really bad for every non-player like him. Man, I mean, Samuel Porter caught a long touchdown, dude, but you want to talk about like a guy who looks bizarrely dead. I don't know what's going on there. Like I knew he was a negative regression candidate because he ran extremely hot on touchdowns, but I didn't think he would be like this low target share. And the Lions are like, they're like the Bills, but they can run the ball even better. So it's tough, you know? Anything else you want to say on the first round guy?
The JMO breakout has made everyone on the team worse because now that JMO is a legitimate part of the offense who can earn targets, it takes away, call it 10% of everyone's production or whatever gets siphoned off and goes to JMO, a role that basically did not exist in the offense last year. The only one it's good for is Goff.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think Amon-Ra is lucky that like the Lions have thrown him 2 touchdowns by like leading by a combined like 80 points. Like they're literally just giving him garbage time fantasy points because that's what Dan Campbell does. Which is good for us as fantasy managers. Good to see both the first round running backs get back to
touchdowns
average. It took Bijan scoring 2 touchdowns to do it. On Brees, the Jets clearly wanted to establish him with the new OC change. And on Bijan,
that was something we should have mentioned, by the way, is that the Adams trade is awesome for Brees because it just gives them more scoring possessions, just gives them more opportunities for him to score.
Oh, okay. So that's good for Brees, a first round pick, but it's bad for Kincaid, who was like a 5th round pick when Cooper gives the Bills more scoring opportunities.
Well,
I'm following the logic.
Brees is very good.
Oh, okay.
I've seen nothing in Dalton Kincaid's time in college or in the NFL to indicate that he is a super really good player, basically.
What
Whereas
about that?
Brees has always been good. Has Brees ever been bad? I guess Brees had a 2-game run this year where he was bad.
He was pretty bad this whole year. Yeah, good to see Brees get established if you're a Brees guy. On Bijan, I think it's clear injury was the issue on that Thursday night game. And so Tyler Algier is still going to steal some goal line touchdowns, but you don't really care about that. That will wash out for Bijan. CeeDee Lamb, man.
Will it wash out though? Because now it's like he's the Gibbs and Algier is the Montgomery kind of. Like it's a legitimate.
Yeah, Algier is like Montgomery if Montgomery was like bad, because
he doesn't have like the contact balance and the
he has
explosives.
so many negative runs, dude. He has so many runs that go for like 0 yards. He is
All
a
right,
bowling ball.
I'm fact checking Liam on air right now.
Go ahead, dude. This is a historically bad record for you, fact checking me.
We're gonna find out. Who do we think has a worst? This is actually good. Who do we think has a worst stuff rate in the fantasy points data suite for the Falcons in the last 2 seasons?
Well, I'm talking about this year. If you watch the games, put on the tape, Davis. Tyler Algier is getting a lot of like literal 0-yard runs. He's a bowling ball.
42% stuff rate for Bijan, 35% stuffed rate for.
Why do we care about last year at all? Like last year?
No, that's this year. That's this year.
This year. Well, Bijan carries the ball more, so you're inherently going to get stuffed more.
Yeah, no, but I didn't. That wasn't raw numbers. That was percentage numbers.
And what's Montgomery? Like 20%?
That's a good question. Stuff rate for the Lions, 36% for Montgomery, 34% for Gibbs. So they're both better than both of the Lions guys.
Yeah, no, I think I think Algier, he's going to get some low value touches. He will steal some touchdowns, like most running backs have happened to them. But Bijan is going to be leaned on for this Falcons team to be successful. The Falcons look good. So like
Falcons look good, yeah.
And Bijan gets Washington, week 17. So that's just gravy. CeeDee Lamb, man. Let's talk about the Cowboys for a second here. He seems to just like not be able to beat double coverage quite like some other players, where I guess it's just because the Cowboys made no effort to get a real number 2 wide receiver. No disrespect meant to Jalen Tolbert. Doesn't feel great for the Lamb draft. Like you would think CMC hurt, Lamb healthy, Tyreek bust because of Tua. You would think Lamb is mashing. He's not. What's your takeaway for Lamb and season long outlook?
I mean, they just got to figure something out as an organization. Like they were basically, by the time they got done giving ceremonial touches to Ezekiel Elliott because he was complaining, the game was already over.
Dude,
so if you're already like they for the first 2 series they gave Zeke touches like to shut him up basically, and the game was over. They went for it in a situation they had to go for it on a 4th down at the end of the second half. They don't get it. The Lions score a touchdown, and then
they lost 46-9 or something, like 47.
It's pure garbage time. So I mean, I don't really think Lamb has any trouble beating double teams or whatever, but it's just like if the team is just going to be garbage.
I think that he's getting doubled more this year is part of the issue, is what I've like read in the rumblings. You can check that on the fantasy.
I don't even know where to check that on fantasy points.
I thought I saw Scott share something like that. I mean, my takeaway from the Cowboys is like I kind of used to view them as like possible Super Bowl contenders, and like almost every opportunity they get against another good football team, they show that they're not. They show that they're like not at all. Like they're capable. They're kind of like last year's Dolphins. They can really beat up the bad teams.
That's exactly what they are.
But when they play a good team, it's just like forget about it. And I don't know if that's coaching. I don't know if that's the roster. The defense is injured there. I think I think the Cowboy, like, you want to talk about a team that could have used Amari Cooper for just a pick. How about the Cowboys? They could have used the guy.
Amari Cooper got traded to the Browns for a 5th-round pick, and as a 30-year-old, he got traded for a 3rd-round pick.
Well, that's okay. That's disingenuous because the Browns ate $20 million in cap space, and it was Cooper was coming off.
The Cowboys
a
did that
year.
the same offseason that Christian Kirk got paid $1 bazillion. Like it's an all-time bad trade.
No, it's really bad by the
insanely
Cowboys.
bad.
Yes, but the reason why the Bills gave a third is because A, they have extra picks, and B, the Cooper's getting paid no money. So they're paying a premium because they like their salary cap can literally only fit Cooper. You know, I don't know, like the Jaguars guys could be on the move. A guy like Gabe Davis is probably cheap. Maybe opens up things a little bit for Lamb. Christian Kirk, I don't really see a fit there. I think he's like more Chiefs aligned if I had to see a team trading for him, but they should be buyers if they are at all serious. Did you see Jerry Jones being threatening the radio hosts for questioning him?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's like truly one of the
bad.
least serious things of all time that they won't fire McCarthy. Like in the offseason or now, he's got no ability.
Do you think he's the issue, or is it the GM, which is Jones?
I mean, it's everyone. Everyone involved is unserious. The OC is unserious. Schottenheimer's unserious. Like going into the season with Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott as your running back.
Who's the old Vikings coach they had be the DC? That's bad.
Zimmer,
right? Yeah. I think he got demoted too.
Well, it was Dan Quinn. So Dan Quinn actually kind of had them playing well on defense last year, and now is the head coach of the Commanders. And I don't know. It's just it's a mess. One of the greatest decisions of my life, abandoning the Dallas Cowboys for greener pastures. Truly incredible. Just like every game I watch them.
What is Garrett Wilson's week 7? What's his week after week 14? What's Garrett Wilson's advance rate?
19% or something.
Really?
Because he's tied to Rodgers, who is like super boot. Like Rodgers like might be one of the best value late round quarterbacks now.
No, there are so many.
He might throw for 2.5 touchdowns a game.
I don't know how you can say Rodgers runs this really slow offense and at the same time be like he's gonna smash fantasy. Kirk Cousins was similar cost.
Sure.
Derek Carr, like there's like Purdy.
Purdy got Wally pipped, dude.
Purdy wasn't too far from him.
No, Purdy was much more expensive. Rodgers not even 100% drafted.
Nearly 100%. Like there was very random drafts.
Oh, the chat's right. Baker is the late round quarterback.
Baker. Fields. Like if this like we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll see, buddy.
We'll get to that one. I'm gonna go. He's a below expectation advance rate because he's gonna be competing with AJ Brown. He's gonna be competing with Puka Nacua coming healthy. Jefferson. I mean, all-time bad process for the people saying Garrett Wilson is better than Justin Jefferson in fantasy. And I wasn't quite there, but I wasn't drafting Jefferson. Anything else to say here before we move?
No. Who do you think ends up being the highest first round advance rate guy? You think it is Chase or Jefferson?
It's really going to come down to the touchdowns, which I would side with Chase still. The Vikings defense is too good. Like you're talking about a team that's trying to win like 23-17. That they're kind of doing that.
Yeah. You know what is sick? So this actually made me fucking miserable learning this I was just looking at some PROE stuff. The Vikings are 6th in the NFL in PROE. It's just that their defense is that good. It's just they have been up so much in these games that we can't get 28 Darnold passing attempts even with them wanting to pass the ball.
I get like if it's not Chase or Jefferson, like the only guy I can see pushing them right now is AJ Brown, unless one of the running backs go on like an insane run. But even that, like that would require guys like Derrick Henry and Saquon failing for them to be massive advance rates.
Yeah.
Here's your quarterback advance rates. Of course, some bye week funkiness in here with Mahomes down here.
Well, not that much funkiness.
Richardson as well, dealing with some bye week funkiness. Caleb, a big resurgence after his big game, gonna have a bye. Jaden Daniels, I'm expecting him to go higher where the Atlanta pieces are looking alive and scoring well. Jordan Love is also very underrepresented where he missed 2 games and he's still positive advance rate here. Joe Burrow, he scored a 50-yard rushing touchdown. Not going to have that every week, but they're going to need to score points.
Burrow is tied to 2 guys who are smashing, though. Burrow is tied to Higgins, who's smashing, Chase, who's smashing, and Chase Brown, who.
Well, I would say Chase Brown over Higgins is the smash.
Well, I mean, Higgins has the highest target share of his career right now. So, and a bunch. The other thing about Higgins,
that's the double cover phenomenon. I think teams are doubling more this year, and so it inherently makes sense where T. Higgins would be a first read over Jamar Chase because no matter how good a player is, you're gonna look at the guy only covered by 1 defender and not 2 first. To me,
sure, yeah, that's true. But I'm just saying the other thing with Higgins is all the guys around him are dead. Like Christian Kirk dead, Rashee Rice dead, George Pickens a negative advance rate player.
Yeah, it's the tight ends. He's competing with the tight ends.
The tight ends.
Ken Walker, James Cook also in that range.
They were a little later in the drafts. Higgins was
they went at the 4-5 turn like T did. T was he had a range. And then Chris Godwin is really the guy who's mashing, but he was cheaper.
Godwin is. See, the number is he or Henry the number 1 advance rate player?
Henry, I think. I'm gonna pull that up from Patrick later, but Lamar
Godwin
continues.
Okay, so it's Godwin by
this is what Lamar should be MVP this year. He should not have been MVP last year. If MVP is at all stats based and not just who's the quarterback on the best team. Give it to Lamar this year. He's actually producing fantasy points and production. That's why I think you just don't give it to him last year. Because what are you going to do? Not give it to him now if he continues
Stroud's advance rate is going to go down because Diggs and Dell have been brutal. Schultz has been brutal, and Nico is on IR.
Diggs has been smashing, man. How's he been brutal?
Not in half PPR. He's been good. He's been good in full PPR, but Diggs right now has a just above average. I guess he's been just above average advance rate, 19%.
Diggs, and I think
Diggs has not been smashing.
I think he will slow. PPR. I think he will slow with Tank getting healthier. It's really nice to see Tank produce.
Yeah, that was big. I agree.
So I don't know. I think Stroud is also being propped up by Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers correlation type stuff.
True. Drag down my Andrews though.
Yeah. Well, Kyler, I don't feel good about. I don't feel good about the Cardinals still.
Kyler's got multiple things holding him down. So Kyler's
competing with all these guys too.
Marv is dragging him down, and Puka and Kupp are dragging him down. The only one, Tank. The chat is saying Tank was never hurt. He quite literally broke his leg.
Davis, don't.
He's way worse.
You gotta look. We got 500 people watching. You gotta learn to ignore a comment or two. You think I'm gonna pull up every Kincaid comment here? No.
It just really grinds my gears when people ignore objective reality. It's fine to have your opinion, but I truly hate it when objective reality gets ignored.
Great point, Dev. No, I think hurting Kyler as well is that Love, Burrow, Prescott, Daniels, Caleb, and Purdy were cheaper. Purdy is looking like the real smash there.
Purdy is a huge smash.
Especially getting the Lions. Hurts and Allen being at 15.5%. Interesting because they were higher than this and more expensive last year. They were 2nd-round picks. But I think it's just how good some of the later round quarterbacks are doing is hurting them. And, Hurts has his bye. And
how about Caleb, buddy? How about Caleb coming back?
Yeah.
Yes. Caleb last 3 weeks leads quarterbacks in EPA per play or I can't remember if it's EPA per play or cumulative EPA, but basically he's smashing.
And what's huge for them is these London games, like post London game fallout, can be really negative for your teams where you suffer through that for like 2-3 weeks. And they get their bye this week. So they look good. They get their bye. They've removed Gerald Everett from the offense.
And you know who they play when they get off their bye that might mitigate it a little bit?
The Commanders.
And the Cardinals back to
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, they get the Seahawks week 17 too. Like that looks like a very beatable defense. So Caleb Stock looking a lot more alive right now. You get 2 quarterbacks on this list week 17. Who are your guys?
2 quarterbacks to just have? Like I just get to pick
cost
them?
cost included.
Lamar and Daniels. I mean, it's easy.
Yeah, that's a pretty fun one.
So this is like such an issue though, and it happens in daily fantasy and in these BRs is like you're almost better off not stacking Daniels because the only guy to stack him with is McLaurin, and that pairing gets so overrepresented, which is just kind of interesting.
Yeah, I have Zach Ertz is playing well, so he's not going to zero anytime soon. And
I believe Zach Ertz might lead tight ends in targets.
So, I have hopes like week 15, week 16, maybe they Benson it. Like, dude, where would you have drafted Luke McCaffrey if someone told you the Commanders trade away Jahan Dotson, the Jaden Daniels is like number 1 in EPA per play, and he's a full-time player. If that's all you knew, and the Commanders are what are they, like 4-2? Like if someone just told you by week 6 all those things, you would have been like, oh, Luke McCaffrey, like smash, right? And then not really the case. Like Noah Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, Zach Ertz, Diami Brown gets touchdowns. So maybe he develops during the year. Less optimistic about Ben Sinnott, but yeah. Anything else on the quarterbacks, Davis?
Yeah, I really wish Ben Sinnott existed for Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, that would be nice. Here's your tight end advance rates. Everyone is a negative advance rate currently on expectation, except for Kittle, Bowers, and Dallas Goedert. Now, this is due to a couple reasons. Number one, they're all competing with each other and they're all scoring similar. Number two, they're all kind of competing with Chris Godwin, and he is the smash of this round. And they're also kind of competing with Derrick Henry a little bit. So that is all bad for them. Still, like Davis, if you show up to week 17 on the finals, would you want a team to have at least one of these guys, or would you want to show
Bowers.
up? Would you want to show up?
You want Brock Bowers.
How about
the answer?
How about
fantasy football
for these guys?
Bowers.
Would you want? I would still take Kittle over Bowers, but
no, you wouldn't. I think you are now just ideologically opposed.
No, don't get me wrong. Davante Adams getting traded is a smash for Bowers. Where now he's going to be like 8 to 10 targets a game, which you just don't get that target share or raw targets from many players. But touchdowns still matter. I still think Bowers will struggle in that department on one of the worst teams in football. But he is a smash at cost because he was much cheaper. I still like, if I show up to the finals, I want one of these low-owned guys on the team versus having like, I don't know, Tyler Conklin and Hunter Henry, and to your point, like looking at the 4th round, who was the right pick? 4th round, 5th round. Okay, T. Higgins is fine.
Derrick Henry, T. Higgins, and Rashee Rice before he died.
Ken Walker,
Lamar Jackson,
James Cook, Lamar, maybe Josh Allen and Hurts. Like all this is skewed, of course, by a small sample.
Hey, we didn't talk about this. Give me 2 minutes and 30 seconds on Ray Davis, James Cook, Ty Johnson while I go pee real quick. You just do Ray Davis. The floor is yours.
Okay, well, I was going to talk about that when we got into looking at our individual bags, but let's do it live. Give Davis a break here. I guess I'll pull up my Ray Davis exposure. I just kept on drafting him on all the sites where I didn't really get why he 44 teams. So Obviously, that was big for me. I didn't really get why the enthusiasm on him was so low. And I was actually worried going into this game that Ty Johnson was going to play more than him, because he had been playing over Ray. But the Bills will ride a hot hand. Ray looked good, and so yeah, he just feels like a smash at cost. Was going around guys like Jalen Wright, um, the Vikings backup. I'm spacing on his name right now, who has not been good, but might get the starting job for a little bit here without Aaron Jones. And then, yeah, the Cook versus Ray Davis fallout, like, feels like Ray is gonna at worst be 35% snaps, like a little bit of thunder and lightning. That's kind of Ty Chandler. Thank you. That's kind of my base expectation for Ray once Cook returns. If Cook returns, like, foot injuries are scary, man. Like Curtis Samuel, turf toe, absolutely no way that the Bills thought he would be only this for them. I just think he's just not healthy, period. He did have some downfield catches against the Jets, so he's getting healthier. But yeah, I think Ray has played himself into enough of a timeshare going forward.
He had a greater rush share in that game against the Jets than any James Cook Bills game the entire time that James Cook has been on the Bills, which I think is
And
pretty
forced
interesting.
more missed tackle, or forced like 7 missed tackles, which is tied for Cook. Like, Cook is still explosive. He's still successful.
He's
at
the
what
Gibbs
like
now. Ray Davis is the Montgomery.
but Cook is not as big as David Montgomery. Like, Montgomery's like 230 pounds, 225. I think Ray Davis is like 215.
Ray Davis is like 3 months younger than James Cook, which is like the funniest thing of the whole bit. Ray Davis I took on like 55% of my big board teams and then kind of backed off of it a little bit in the in Best Ball Mania, but good pick, Ray Davis.
Yeah, Ray Davis looking like a really solid pick. These are the top 12 by ADP running backs, excluding the first round. Now, this spans a lot of rounds. It goes from like the second round to the 6th or 7th round with David Montgomery. It is interesting. Like, the talk around town is like, oh, all the running backs are smashes. Really not the case. There's still a lot of busts here, right? Like JT, not so hot. Achan, not so hot. Injury there. Kyron has a bye. He's actually doing good. Henry, a success. Saquon, a success. ETN, I think ETN's just hurt a lot. Jacobs, not great. Cook, missed a game, was smashing, and now Ray Davis popped up. Ken Walker's a smash. White might get traded, man. Mixon is a smash.
He's not going to get traded. He just isn't going to play.
I think might try to trade him.
Teams just don't really trade guys on rookie contracts. They're just too valuable. It's just too valuable from a roster construction perspective to hold a guy that cheap.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Kind of like Khalil Herbert, but I don't know. I mean, Derrick Henry obviously is going down. Like, he's just not going to maintain a 46% advance rate.
What if, brother? What if?
I mean, what if he scores 30 touchdowns? Saquon had a bye, didn't score well this past week, didn't rank well either. Like, he was obviously skewed from AJ Brown and Devonta Smith missing time. So, like, he was like their only player. Was kind of inefficient this past week. So something to monitor there. Has dropped from like a 46% to a 30%. Seems pretty normal for a second round pick. Anything sticking out to you here?
Ken Walker is going to go way up. Walker is going to, I think he ends up being, right now, I would maybe even think Walker has a chance to catch Henry, because in general, worse drafters were taking Henry, better drafters were taking Ken Walker. And so, which sounds insane, but then you remember things like Sky Moore in the 8th round had I've been having this issue actually. I don't know what it is, but multiple streams this last week. I
can move my mic
it's
away.
It's not you. It's not you. There's something wrong with my microphone. I probably need to switch to my podcasting microphone. instead of this lav mic. But anyway, Ken Walker is going to have the Sky Moore corollary where
well, it's the receiving production for Walker is insane. Like that is where like that's never been Ken Walker, and he is getting elite target numbers, and doing well with it. You know.
Yeah. Someone asked how many Derrick Henry, Ken Walker teams there are. Barely any, because the type of person who wants to draft Ken Walker doesn't want to draft Derrick Henry. There's 3,141 of those permutations, whereas Derrick Henry and Josh Jacobs. Let's do a guess in our head right now. How many Ken Walker Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs?
I'm gonna go five. Well, they were the same cost though, but I'm gonna go the same number because Walker was like a 7th round pick for bulk of the draft season. But the same number would be.
There's 1,000 more Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs.
That's crazy. They were that's
crazy. Because you have to think about how drafters think.
No, these type of what they're thinking about. We want the touchdown running backs on good teams. Yes. And we don't care how explosive they are. Where like I get like Kenneth Walker and like James Cook, that would be, or like Walker and Achane, you know, like those will be.
You know what's a really good one? Rashad White and Derrick Henry versus Bucky Irving and Derrick Henry. Like the Derrick Henry drafter wants nothing to do with Bucky Irving.
I don't know if the Derrick Henry drafter loves Rashad White either, but maybe. Let's see.
No, they're like the same guy for fantasy.
Dude, as someone who drafted Rashad White, I wish. 4K, and then Irving. Well, I mean, the Derrick Henry
compared to like Ray Davis, like another random rookie running back.
The Derrick Henry drafter just needs to draft wide receivers at these costs.
I fucking knew it.
There's less.
I fucking knew it. I knew it.
Well, it's because
maybe I'll be wrong.
Derrick Henry drafters.
I'm basically wrong.
Derrick Henry drafters are building robust running back more in general, so they need to draft. They're drafting like Darnell Mooney and some actual bad wide receivers at those costs. ETN, man, injured, fumbles, looks bad for him. HN gets the bye, gets Tua back. Still have hopes for him.
Well, he also got concussed. He also got a concussion. Only played like a drive.
Yeah. So these are the same thing, but the wide receivers. This only spans the 2nd to 3rd round. Kind of surprised Ayuk is like near Waddle, where he actually had one big game. Kupp.
He didn't score though.
He didn't score a touchdown. Did have 150 yards. Fair. Nico, it's going to go down a little bit because of injury. Smith should go up. Neighbors should go way up. Although they lost their tackle, that's going to be impactful.
Huge.
Losing the tackle, you think?
It's really, really bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, really bad for Neighbors. They're going to have to use, what they're going to have to do is they're going to have to stop using him at the.
They're going to quick pass to him.
It's going to be screens. It's going to be, he is going to have to get some Wandale targets now.
Which is, helps from a floor. Marvin, almost surprised it's this high. Debo,
you know what's weird here is he might go up if Puka comes back and does well because that permutation is so overrepresented.
Or Kupp, not as chalky.
Kupp's advance rate is in my opinion is gonna go very high, but I'm a Kupp slappy.
Yeah, I think he's gonna end up a positive advance rate player.
Yeah, there's a Noah Sanders says Kupp having a higher advance rate than Ayuk is nuts. So it is if you think about it. But Brandon Ayuk has basically had one game that wasn't a 0 because 8 points is basically a 0 in best ball. Like 8 points is basically useless.
Well, and Kupp might actually have more raw points. Like I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
And then the other thing I would say here is the Kupp drafter, like people drafting Kupp, the robust running back people liked Kupp. So Kupp is paired with Saquon a lot. He's paired with Derrick Henry a lot. And Ayuk is paired with Amon-Ra, Gibbs to some degree, and those guys are a little bit neutral.
Achan, probably a lot of Achan drafters liked Ayuk. Ayuk is definitely a low T selection.
Yeah, like if we check out
Ayuk's kind of like a pescatarian pick.
like
If I
Derrick
really had to think
Henry
about it.
and Cup is 3K. Derrick Henry and Ayuk is 2,500.
So it's about the same. Look up Ayuk Achan versus Cup Achan.
Saquon Ayuk 1,700. Saquon Cup, which you could only get this for. Yeah, this is like what I'm talking about. Saquon is paired with Cup more than Ayuk to a huge degree. Look up what?
I don't know. I'm just mad you didn't give me any feedback on
I
Brandon Ayuk
just
as a
ignored you.
pescatarian.
Well, because it's just not a clever joke. Like,
oh, come on.
I'm sorry.
Come on, it's pretty clever.
I'm pretty quick-witted, so I just didn't skip a beat where it just wasn't that funny. Drake London, man. He is looking very alive. 3rd overall in ESPN Open Score.
Yeah, he's going up.
I wasn't a big London guy, but just seems like a smash with a healthy Kirk Cousins.
Dude, he has like a 28% target share, and the Falcons are trying to they're actively getting him touchdowns now. It's all happening for Drake London, which is so funny because to me, London was like the eat your vegetables pick at the 1-2 turn, where it was like, oh, I don't really want to take him or Marvin Harrison Jr., but I don't want to have none of them. And it's like, God damn, was I wrong? Like London is killing it.
Yeah, I mean, the thesis of London was obvious, right? It was just like, oh, this is basically Falcons, Justin Jefferson, high target share.
I just had to get my exposure to Kyle Pitts. That's the cheaper way, because Kyle Pitts' points, they're actually a little bit more valuable because they come at tight end. So if it's really just a true passing game breakout situation, Pitts is going to be the one you want. Turns out you just draft good players. Just draft guys who score points. Dude, how much Kyle Pitts are you going to have when he's a 13th round pick next year?
Dude, so much.
I like when Kyle Pitts is the same price as David and Njoku. I might just.
No, I'm taking Njoku easily. You kidding me?
Well, who's gonna? You won't take Njoku
when he's the same price
Watson's,
as Tyler Conklin. That's when we hammer Pitts.
Watson is still gonna be the quarterback next year. There's
no, my God, could give me a break. He's getting benched soon.
He's not. If he's not getting benched this week, when would he ever get benched?
They're gonna just slowly trade away O lineman and let him get hurt. That's the plan.
The O line is already as bad as it could get.
Yeah, and the Browns used to have an elite O line, so that's like a big difference for them. These are the top wide receivers in the NFL according to ESPN analytics. There is some I do agree there is some same teamness happening here where the Houston guys both smashed here last year. But, just a cool thing to look at. Josh Downs checks the eye test. Godwin does too. London does. Olave doesn't really, but good to see for him. Although both him and Shaheed are hurt. Some guys you wouldn't expect. Josh Reynolds, Rashad Bateman, George Pickens, Jalen Tolbert, Juwan Jennings, Demario Douglas.
There's something going on with the Monken offense because the fantasy point stuff has him with elite separation and shit too. So there's just something going on.
Well, it's more so the defense is just literally saying we don't need to cover Rashad Bateman that much because he's not getting thrown the ball. And that gets picked up in his open score. But Malik Neighbors, 92 in open score. Pretty nice to see. These are the worst in the NFL. So here's Amari Cooper. Mingo, Polk. These guys all passed the eye test. Garrett Wilson, not so much. Kirk, surprising down here as well. All the Seattle guys are here as well. Lockett, JSN, and Metcalf. So that might be some scheme-ness from the Seahawks where they are running some weird scheme to dig them in ESPN analytics. Interesting to see Drake London at the top, but Mooney and McLeod at the bottom. So that would be a counter to the scheme. I do think some slot weirdness is getting punished because you see guys like Wandale, Cup, Kirk.
Well, they catch the ball in tight spaces. So any kind of separation yak thing, they're getting the ball on plays where separation and yak is not intended.
It's an all-timer.
Polk, by the way, is playing the wrong position. They
Polk
basically
just seems like he's Mingo levels bad, man. Like let's call it what it is. He has looked bad.
So like I disagree because he's only played 4 games, but it's definitely heading that way. But I just wanted to make this point that Polk is playing out of position. The team has confirmed it. Matt Harmon, who does really good work, like the reception perception, he grades a lot of these guys, has said the same thing. Like he's not playing the position he played in college. He's playing out of position so that they can get Kendrick Bourne and Demario Douglas on the field.
Well, yeah, so the issue for Polk is that he literally might get benched at some point if the Patriots want to see Javon Baker. Because my assumption is Douglas is a lock. I think Bourne is a borderline lock
No, Bourne is not even now that he's healthy. I would say he is a lock.
Yeah, he went from 10 routes to like 30, so he's now almost a full-time player. Kayshon Boutte, like if he's a lock, that is an issue for Polk. It's an issue for Baker. Is it KJ Osborne has been relegated already? He's like, so I don't know, man. Polk, like May looks fun, but Polk just doesn't, and like this kind of tells the story. 37 open score. Like he is not getting open, similar to Mingo. His quarterback play might be better. He's a disappointment as a second round real life pick.
I mean, he went over AD Mitchell, which was inexcusable at the time and is inexcusable now.
Yeah. So I think I think having heavy bags on Cooper and Adams was not the best process this year. They're 30 and 31. We knew both their quarterbacks would be bad to mid, but maybe an all-time bailout for them. What's your stance there?
Well, I didn't even dislike Amari Cooper. I just couldn't get him because he was going where Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown were going, so I didn't take him. And Adams was hard to get because when drafts began, he was going next to Deebo Samuel, who is my favorite pick. And then he was going next to Nico Collins when he got more expensive. Nico is my favorite pick. And then he was going next to Cooper Kupp, who I liked all those guys better.
And DJ Moore you liked more,
and DJ Moore, yeah. So
yeah.
I ended up with like a fair amount of Davante Adams, but looking at where I drafted him, it was mostly also all my Davante Adams teams are terrible, which I guess you would expect. Like I think Davante Adams is a great player. So I wanted him. What is 14? Is that below average? Is that below 8%? I can't do that math. It's right about average.
What, his advance rate?
No, the amount of teams that I have him on.
Oh, 25 out of 150 is average.
Okay, so I had less than Adams on the market. Oh, I had
not 25. Sorry.
Yeah, I have 14 teams, so I have like basically one more team with Adams than normal. But my cost basis is below average, which I suppose that.
Yeah, I have some Adams. Like you got to get some, but I preferred all the 49ers guys over him. Still do. Preferred Nico over him. Still do. Took guys like Achane over him. Probably would go back and do that again if I was drafting. Where like I'm just not trying to buy 31-year-old with quarterbacks of Gardner Minshew or AOC and like hoping that they might get traded. Like, and by the way, this is the worst comment I've ever seen in my life. Like comparing drafting a second round and a fourth round player to Kendre Miller and Trey Benson. I don't even get that. Cooper was cheaper, but I preferred all the tight ends. I preferred T. Higgins, but I did mix him some. The next thing I want to talk about before we dig into our bags is Patrick, who created BBMDB, shared some cool info here. So let's scroll his tweets. The 16th is what we want. So these are the most common players on advancing teams, the most 2-player combos, and the most 3-player combos. So these are the chalk advance rate guys. Number 1 advance rates: Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Chris Godwin, Mayfield, correlation there. Chase, Chuba, Mooney, Komet, Saquon, Joe Burrow, Jaden Reed, Lamar, Isaiah Likely, Rashid Shaheed, Nico Swift, Terry, Dobbins, Kittle, Daniels. Which of these guys would you be willing to eat the chalk on? And which ones would you really not want to have?
Hubbard, I don't want to have because he's going to 0.
He's not going to 0. He's going to be in a timeshare, I think.
Yeah. McLaurin, I don't think I want as much because he feels like he's getting pulled up. Shaheed, you really don't want.
I think Shaheed you do, like if he's healthy.
So he's hurt, and they're bad, and I think they might just play Rattler.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends. Like maybe you want one of the running backs in that round. Like Nico Chalk, I would eat for sure. Chase
well,
Chalk.
What are you asking me? Are you saying you want me to draft these players going forward, or you want me to reconsider my stance on where
I'm saying you show up, you have a team in the playoffs.
Oh,
you have a team in the playoffs, and you're like, oh, I have the highest owned guy in the playoffs. I'm not like, but I want it, or I don't.
So these are the guys I want as chalk in the finals. I want Chase as chalk in the finals. I want Jaden Reed as chalk in the finals. I want Lamar as chalk in the finals. I want Nico as chalk in the finals, and I want Jaden Daniels as chalk in the finals. Those are the ones I would want.
I would also Kittle, and then let's talk about DeAndre Swift a little bit, man. Where he was looking like a major bust of a pick, and now he's smashed 3 weeks in a row. I had a kind of an aggressive ranking on him over guys like James Conner, which felt bad for a little bit, but like over guys like Ramondre Stevenson, which feels good right now. What's your stance on Swift? I do think Roschon will play more after the bye because he like people are like, oh, why was Travis Homer playing? Because Roschon was hurt, dude. Like he got hurt. It was very underreported.
He had a foot injury. It was very underreported. You're right.
Yeah, it was very underreported. So I do think Roschon will mix in more, and Roschon looks good, but Swift chalk feels pretty good. I would also like. I don't have Godwin a lot, but I would eat Godwin chalk. I think.
Sure. Yeah.
Derrick Henry, really good I would simply want a different 4th round player. Alvin Kamara is so cheap, it's hard to say, man. Anything else standing out to you on this list?
Yeah, I mean it'll just be interesting because Nico won't be chalk.
No, yeah, he's not going to end up
because you're gonna get 4 weeks of zeros with him. The thing that will limit Swift is that he obviously will not score long touchdowns every week, and Roschon pretty clearly is going to get some of the goal line work. So there are going to be, I don't know, there'll be 5 more weeks this season where he has 111 scrimmage yards but doesn't score, which might be fine on DraftKings or might be fine on your FFPC main event team, but is pretty unideal on Underdog.
I still don't think I'd want J.K. Dobbins chalk.
You're gonna want the Kamani Vidal chalk.
Maybe. So J.K. Dobbins 25 carries this past week, his most ever. I think his most ever was like 17 before then. 3.9 yards per carry. So like not what you want to see. His rushing yards over expectation, not a perfect stat, but was good this week, unlike the past 2 weeks. So there's good and bad to like there. The good, he is being trusted with a huge workload, and the Chargers want to run the football. The bad is Kamani might a huge workload for J.K. Dobbins. Is that sustainable? Probably not. But obviously a smash at pick 160 currently. These are the most 2-player combos. So you're going to see stacking here to a large degree. Burrow and Chase, I'm shocked that's out advancing Baker and Godwin. Must have just been paired more. Other stacks going on here.
Chase's raw point game is higher, and 6 weeks into the season.
No, I don't think. But no, Godwin has similar raw points to Chase, and at a 6th round cost. So.
But the 1 week, he got 45. Godwin's high is 38. That matters in a large sample like
I think it's just because Burrow. I think it's just because Burrow was paired with Chase more than Baker. Let's check that theory though. Burrow.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Burrow and Chase is on 24K teams. Godwin and Baker is on 15K teams. So the percentage of Baker teams are way out advancing the percentage of Burrow teams. There's just literally 10,000 more Burrow Chase teams is what's happening there.
Okay,
Because
there you go.
Baker also paired with Mike Evans. So this is literally all stacking except for Derrick Henry and Chris Godwin is your only. And then
Alvin Kamara and Chase.
And Alvin Kamara and Chase. And then all this is stacking other than
very funny that Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts are. Kyle Pitts, we've gone all the way around to Kyle Pitts is actually going to end up being fine.
Me too, Chad.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
too,
Chad,
brother.
you're not alone, man. You're really not alone. You
Um,
want to know a funny thing, and this doesn't matter to anyone listening to this, but I actually have good, like, I will be able to find a way to get even on Chris Godwin despite being way underweight on him.
I played, dude. Remember I told you about the Juju Smith-Schuster smashing? I played them all in DFS. Didn't win anything. So
I have Godwin on a bunch of dynasty teams because he was a dusty old, so he could be acquired very cheaply this last offseason. And I just randomly happen to have a couple teams that were ready to win this year. So I will find a way to not go to zero on Godwin. In a way.
Well, the big thing with Godwin is he got injured 2 years ago. Last year he was 1 year removed. Clearly he wasn't fully himself. This year he is 2 years removed, fully healthy to me. And he's 28. So it was fair to question, was that going to happen? Sometimes you slow down at 28, but Godwin being his pre-injury self is really what occurred here to me. And so he's just smashing. These are your biggest 3-player combos, which again, read number 3 here if you want to.
It makes me fucking sick to my stomach.
I mean, Burton and Andre, dude, I have a lot of Burton bags too. Yoshi's awesome.
I think I ended up with, so I have 30 Burton teams, but I have 15 Yoshi Boss teams because I basically at a certain point
I'm
said,
similar to you. Yeah.
No more Burton. It's all Yoshi. I got to get to even.
Well, and the other thing about Godwin, I meant to say this, is the Bucks last year, I think, averaged 18 points per game or something. This year, they're averaging 29 points per game. So that right there is why Godwin is smashing. Hilarious that Burton is here. Stacking, not stacking, random Alvin Kamara. Stacking,
Bateman,
stacking,
Ben Sinnott getting pulled up. You love to see it.
Stacking, random Alvin Kamara, stacking, random Alvin Kamara. Interesting that Alvin Kamara is the random guy and not Derrick Henry.
Cheaper.
Yeah, cheaper. Random Saquon, and then stacking. Yeah, so cool things here from Patrick. Keep it up, Patrick. We will show your cool tweets here. Anything you want to say about this before we check our own bags?
No, I mean, do we really have to check my bags? I mean, I guess we can.
That's kind of what we do here usually. So I don't
better,
know,
man.
It was a okay week for me. I went from 25 to 19, treading water. The thing to count out like at home is how many teams. Like I counted how many teams I have under 30. I got a lot that could go either way. You know, like Jamar Chase breaks his leg, Brandon Ayuk breaks their leg, season's over. They score 40 points in a game, things go up. Davis,
I have a lot under 30, but who cares? Again,
well, let's count
no
that.
one cares.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
This is all just it's all just cope. None of it matters unless
we only need one team, brother.
Yeah. None of it matters, man. They're all bad. Is my top team still the same shitty one? Yeah, it's still the same shitty one with Herzig.
That's a good team. What about this team?
Nothing would make me less happy than splitting my
having to split it. Davis, we are advancing a team together. I think I would need to pull up Underdog to know which one it is. Am I showing that? We are advancing this team together.
It's right there.
We're in first. Burrow and Herbert, Kyron Montgomery, Rico, Bucky, Braylon. Sick. You made us
Generic
take
Prince.
Prince. Chase Olave,
Dead. We
Wicks,
can't win.
Leggett, Yoshi
No.
Voss,
We got 9 zeros, dude. It's not happening.
McBride, and Ferguson. So let's check our bigger exposures. So Ford, I mean, what's your stance on Nick Chubb, man, with the Browns being terrible? Like, are they gonna
Would
just
you
like
want to have any Browns player?
well, they get Miami week 17, so I still think the running backs will get home, whoever it is. Like, what's your stance on Nick Chubb? Because I could see it going both ways. One way I could see it going is Browns suck, fans hate him. Let's give him a Chubb season, something to remember. The other thing I could see them saying is team sucks, not going anywhere. Let's either trade him or not even play him this year and let him get healthy. What do you think they do?
I mean, he just wrote this big Players Tribune article. Doesn't sound like a guy who's not playing this year. Basically, he's like, I'm going to leave it all on the field. Cleveland, yeah. I love you. You know, people are posting, you know, gifs of them crying, reading this article. It's like, whatever, man.
Just inspiration for Jerome Ford is what I'm hearing there. Jerome,
yeah. I gotta be honest, Liam, you hitching your wagon to Jerome Ford seems so fucking crazy to me.
At a pick of 130, dude, his closing ADP was 100. You know, and the thesis of Jerome Ford is that when Nick Chubb returns, if he returns, Ford becomes Jaylen Warren, Ty Chandler. Like, he becomes a guy who's still going to be involved. And I still think that's live. Maybe he goes to 0. Obviously, he's injured, so he's not going to be playing. Bills guys, Ferguson is like last in ESPN analytics now, interestingly, after being like one of the top guys. Zach Moss versus Chase Brown, we got to talk about that. Moss was hurt, then fumbled, then got benched. Chase Brown gets the carries. Kind of was a whirlwind ride where it had a lot of negative runs.
He fucking fumbles, doesn't lose it, and then scores when he wasn't supposed to. I mean, by the way, that run, Liam, that run was the difference between, because this was the all-play week in the main event, that touchdown got me 3 extra wins.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I love it. I mean, clearly, we would prefer Chase Brown. I middled that. I got 23 Chase Brown teams.
I actually now have gone all the way to feeling bad for ever capitulating and ever fucking taking Zach Moss, which is so off-brand.
Okay, but let me ask you this. If Chase Brown in his first game fumbles the ball and maybe they send him to the doghouse, you would have felt opposite. And with running backs, there's so much randomness there where like Carson Steele could have been a good pick, you know?
And Carson Steele was about to be a fucking league winner.
He's about to be a smash. And then he fumbles the ball in back-to-back games. So like Ray Davis, man, like if James Cook never gets hurt, are we seeing this Ray Davis?
No, but game? Ray Davis was, I think, very clearly a very sharp process pick.
A good process pick, but like as far as realizing the process.
The Moss thing, I think I should have realized the process of like trying to even it out is not great because Moss can't.
He's not explosive. He's not
a value creator. Yeah, he's
not explosive. He's hoping that he's David Montgomery Bengal, which is, you know, like you're hoping that he gets the goal line. That was looking live for a couple weeks. And I don't know if he strictly got benched because of the fumble or if he got benched because he was injured and he fumbled.
I think he got benched because they needed to win the game. And if you need to win a game, you'd like a guy who can get more than 4.5 yards.
No, but what I'm saying there is, like, I agree with you. Like maybe they wanted Brown for his explosiveness, but I don't know how injured he was off the ankle, and maybe like he was like kind of hurt, and they were like, we're gonna not play you here. I just snap percentage for Chase Brown or rush share percentage the rest of the way for Chase Brown. What's your take there?
Say that again.
Chase Brown rush percentage the rest of the games. Rush share percentage.
61.5%.
Okay. That's like a reasonable number. Rico feels good for many. Zay Flowers feels good. Chase feels good. Malachi Corley, man, like, can we get this guy traded at least? You know, like,
Do third round rookie picks get traded all that often?
I hope.
You know what you could get is Mike Williams is going to get cut. So
Yeah,
and
is
maybe
he?
Allen. Oh yeah, yeah. Running the wrong route on an interception, brother. Over.
He wasn't fully healthy though. Like, I don't know. Maybe like it does seem pretty bad. Do you think, like, what's the Chiefs cap space like? Can they trade for a guy like Kirk, or are they
You
kind of
know,
like
I don't even. Every time I ever say something about the NFL salary cap, I almost always say it wrong. These teams always figure out a way to make it work. I don't think the Chiefs have very much salary cap room. I'll go to the Chiefs SPO track, but I would assume that a Super Bowl defending team probably does not have very much.
they're kind of decent in cap space.
They have $3.6 million of cap space.
Okay. And that's what like the Bills were like.
Yeah.
Davis, checking in on your exposures. You've dealt with some bad luck here. You've also dealt with the bye. So like the bye
they
is
just keep
obviously
dying. Like the thing is like my players just literally keep dying.
injured.
Well, you want to talk about running good, Liam?
Injured.
I did get a small little bit of run good, which is that the only way Jalen Warren was ever going to get there was with Russell Wilson playing quarterback. He was never in a million years going to get there with Fields playing. So Russell Wilson
Let's talk about
could help
that.
out the Jalen Warren.
Because I am not. It's obviously insane to bench Justin Fields if you're 4-2 and you just won by 15 points.
Yeah.
My stance there is that this is the Steelers being annoying and wanting to make deep, like, we're in the era where coaches can just like lie about stuff and like not report injuries, not report surgeries. We saw that with Gus Edwards. We saw it with Roshan Johnson. Like, teams are really not getting penalized for this anymore. Concussions are like not a thing anymore. So I think Mike Tomlin wants to make teams game plan for Fields and Russell Wilson because they're two totally different things to game plan for, right? It's another reason why like the Ravens have such an advantage because like there's no other team like the Ravens running like the wishbone and shit. And so having to prepare for that, if you like, it's not the same thing as facing other more normal teams. I'm not 100% convinced it's going to be the Russ show. I don't think Russ will succeed behind a battle line. He's not good, doesn't have a good receiver core. What is your stance on what's going on with the Fields, Russell, everything?
I mean, it does feel like they told Russ he would be the starter, so they have to let him start some games at some point. And if there was a coach who could get away with benching the starting quarterback of a 4-2 team, it would definitely be Tomlin. The other thing would be there's the guys in the chat, I think rightfully, and a lot of people on Twitter are saying, like, aren't they going to lose their locker room? Like, doesn't this?
Well, the offense, like, if you're George Pickens is a selfish guy. He just wants yards. He doesn't care about winning, you know?
But the other thing is Tomlin is going to be able to sell this to the guys. The other thing, to put a hat on top of a hat, is Tomlin will also be able to sell, buddy, we're playing two quarterbacks. Russ, you're coming out when we're at the 8-yard line.
And they literally might do that.
No, I think they almost certainly, like, if I had to bet on what is going to happen this week, they're playing two quarterbacks.
Yes, because
they both play.
Part of what could be happening here is the Steelers want to show the league that Russell can do something. And maybe, because remember that they have to send the Bears, I think, like a 3rd-round pick if Fields plays a certain percent of snaps this year. So maybe they're trying to like recruit like a 5th-round pick from the Dolphins or the Giants or like some team that they could trade Russell to is like some dream of theirs. Plus, again, trying to game plan for Fields and Russell.
You really, really like the concept of NFL trades, of teams trading in the NFL.
That's fun, man. Like, what are we gonna? Are we drawing X's and O's up here? So yeah, you've dealt with some injuries, some good weeks for you too. Moore, Rico, Warren being healthy. I think like that Najee week, I literally didn't think he had that in his bag. of
So it
tricks.
was, I believe it was only the second game ever in his career that he had over 5 yards per carry in a single game.
Yeah, like and it was skewed by like 2 long runs. If you know how they do like the like percent of completion, like if they did that like chart for Najee, like percent this game happens, it's like 0.01%. So I do think Warren will be the explosive running back there. Still, Corum, dude, I think you can majorly get there on Corum. He like I still think Kyron will lead the way, but could definitely play a
Well,
lot.
Corum is no different than Ray Davis. He just needs his
He was more
he
expensive, but yeah, I
yeah,
agree.
sure. Yeah.
He needs his opportunity. Wicks, maybe IR, not so great. Braylon Allen, like, what's our stance on, like, too soon to say, but what's our stance on him with the new coaching staff?
He's the same thing he was. He'll get 8 touches a game. If he scores on one of those, he'll be a good pick. And he's probably
He got a red zone carry.
God, if we were just ranking pure handcuffs right now,
Very
has
high.
Isaiah Davis gotten a touch? I don't believe Isaiah Davis
Kickoff
has gotten.
returns.
Yeah, so I think Braylon, he'd almost be the number one who would be the number one content, like not a guy with any standalone value, handcuff only.
Mason, when CMC returns.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Zach Charbonnet.
Charbonnet would be Charbonnet would be number one, but Braylon Allen, I think Braylon Allen and Corum would be like 2 and 3.
Amongst the cheap guys, Braylon, Ray Davis, Jalen Wright, the Dolphins are good. Guys like that. Tyler Algier.
Yeah.
Burton, probably dead for both of us. I think this is hurting you.
Super zero.
I think this is hurting you a lot, aside from like your
You're
injuries.
saying taking a guy in the 4th and 5th round who has not had 20 points since week 12 of last year. You're thinking that's not so good for me.
Yeah,
Just like
this
that's your
is good for
opinion.
you though. Dude, I'm advancing like no May teams.
Yeah. By the way, Drake May getting 22 points or whatever he got last week on Mahomes' bye week.
That's huge.
like that was about the best I've run all year, because I know for a fact I've got I looked, I think I have 9 teams that are just Mahomes and May.
I have like one May team that is sick. That's like almost advancing. So it's like it's a Bijan Puka team. So I'm really hoping Puka returns for that team. Trey Benson, man, I drafted a lot of Trey Benson. He's getting some usage now, and like he got no work at all in the win. And I just don't think that they're going to be able to like run James Conner into the ground. And like you gotta see what Benson can give you this year. Debo Bowers solid. Cup's going to return soon. That should really boost you up here. McMillan's still injured, right? Or like, why did he play?
It's over.
It's over. Okay.
Sterling Shepard, shower narrative. You don't beat the shower narrative when Baker is the best. Yeah.
Okay. Leggett should be great. Pollard smashing. Pollard smashing because I think Spears is missing this week, right?
Yeah. Pollard also is just smashing because he's fully recovered from the leg injury and he's a great player.
Yes. CMC. You got any CMC teams maybe in the mix? I don't think I do.
Let me look. I would imagine that I don't. My best CMC. Oh no! Wow, Liam, I actually do have a CMC team that is super live. Yeah.
This is the team.
Yeah.
Oh, and CEH got activated, dude. Let's talk about that a little bit. What's your stance on what's going to happen there?
Yeah, it's not happening, man. Hunt looks unreal.
Why would they activate him then?
Because they don't trust Carson Steele anymore.
Yeah. Okay. Do I have any CMC teams in the mix? I only drafted 6, and they're
78 behind in 10th place is wild.
I know. There's it's an early drafted team, so let's see why. Love and Lawrence. Okay, so Walker Swift, Braylon Allen holding it down.
Dude, this team could fuck around. Well,
Cup, Adams, and CMC have all not been playing.
Look at you did the 3 horsemen of not knowing what the fuck to do at wide receiver. D-Rob, Burton, Reynolds.
Well, yeah, geez. When was this drafted? August 2nd too. Like this was like
I don't have very many things to victory lap this year because my Chiefs shit has gone so bad. But I just want everyone to be like, I did tell you Demarcus Robinson is literally just the
No,
win.
that's a win by you. There's some others too that I was meaning to give you your flowers on.
You know, the sickening thing is I obviously I've been doing a lot of thinking about like what could I have done differently? Like what was I playing too arrogantly? I don't really think I did anything that wrong. It's just my
you
literal number one take. I have 3 zeros on every roster because Mahomes has basically been a 0, Rice has been a 0, Brown has been a 0. So like carrying a 0 is just it's so bad. It's
There's
just
been
so
a lot of
brutal.
wonky zeros this year. If I were like giving you advice, I would have said, okay, like let's lower these Chiefs exposures by 10% because you're being very risky taking Mahomes always in the 4th round. Now it's kind of working out where no one from the 4th round is smashing. So if
Well,
Mahomes
Derrick
was,
Henry is.
yeah, well, yeah, exactly. But like if just like mix that a little bit. But no, I'm generally okay playing very risky for BBM, right? It's still what it is. It's a top heavy thing. We're trying to win.
Yeah,
I would have asked
I
you.
want
I
to
would have asked you in your heart
play.
of hearts, though. Do you think Mahomes against the Steelers is the key to winning BBM? And if the answer is no, let's mix it up a little bit.
Well, if
Like
Hollywood and
like
Rashi
if
would, if
Josh
Hollywood
Allen
and
was
Rashi would have
playing,
stayed healthy for sure.
if the Bills were playing the Commanders, I would have had like 2x the Josh Allen exposure I did. I
Yeah.
kept it a little bit in check because they're playing the Jets. Okay, let's do a dog bowl draft or two and then get out of here. Davis, not usually a dog bowl guy, but said this is a dog bowl week. Tell the people why this is a dog bowl week, Davis.
Well, it's just an awesome week in general in these drafts because there are a shit ton of good games. Normally there's like 2.5 good games. There's like 6 running backs you like, 11 wide receivers you like, 2 tight ends you like. You know, I mean, Anthony Richardson is the quarterback 13, a guy who we spent all offseason drafting in the 5th round.
But he's
Like
been
it's
that
just
way. He has been that way
well, yeah, he's
for
been awful. I mean, he's been truly
no.
awful.
I'm telling you, in worse weeks, he's been the quarterback 13.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, okay, Darnold. Darnold is the quarterback 12. Like Darnold is
Oh, look at us. The 101.
beautiful.
I think you got to give it to Jefferson. So, like, Jefferson, Amon-Ra, that is a smash spot for both. Kyron in a very nice spot. A.J. Brown. Giants defense, a little bit better than people give it respect for. So much to like on the slate. The 49ers Chiefs game. Are we going to get Austin Eckler chalk in DFS? Are we missing
No,
Brian Robinson again?
B-Rob practiced today.
What about James Cook, whether he plays or not, is a massive question.
Huge. I mean, Jordan Mason is the running back 16, I believe, in these drafts,
He's
and he
at practice.
practiced. Yeah, he
Yeah.
practiced. Aaron Jones is a big one. A-Chain
I don't think
is a big
I think
one.
the Cam Akers trade is a bad sign for.
Correct. Yeah, I agree.
We'll get your guy here. Hopefully, like I'm just hoping this Vikings Lions game can be like a 30 to 25 type of game and not some like 17-14 game.
It could be. I'm surprised you didn't want Chase there.
I like Chase. I just think I mean 8,500 for Jefferson is a little too cheap too, in my opinion. Although pricing, like, remember the days when DraftKings would price guys at like 10K and 9K? The big difference that they're doing now is in that era, you would have like Ray Davis would be priced at 4,400. Ray Davis is 5,200 on DraftKings. And so when you make all the cheaper, like last week, there was no punt wide receivers at all, right? Like Jalen Polk, Xavier Hutchinson, like these were the guys to choose from. And so when you price up all the cheaps, I guess it makes sense that you make the more expensive guys cheaper. I do like Chase too, most weeks, but I don't know. Browns defense versus a dome game for Jefferson.
God, I was all in on AJ Brown last week,
Yeah, I played him
and
too.
he was so close to nuking the slate, but just couldn't quite get there.
It's hard for him to nuke it, man. Like I'm a big AJ Brown believer, but he can get you 40, and it's like
Well, he's got to score the second because he'll get one touchdown, anytime he's in a good spot. But then it's the second touchdown that's the issue.
and even then, it's like in PPR formats, like Amon-Ra gets like 13 catches and like scores similar, you know?
Yeah.
Atlanta, Seattle, that's a very pace up game as well. Houston, Green Bay, that's a very fun game. Like I don't know.
Carolina, Washington, the worst defenses in football with very condensed offenses.
Yeah, but like, what is your Washington stack? Just Jaden Daniels and Ertz, or Daniels and Eckler, Daniels and McLaurin?
You do mini correlation, Deontay Johnson, Brian Robinson Jr.
Mixon being back, pretty huge. I could see this Houston Green Bay game flying under the radar. I think people would prefer Minnesota, Detroit, and Seattle, Atlanta. And
that Detroit Minnesota game could definitely be the letdown game of the week.
Well, yeah, if the Lions like can establish the run, that is and like
both the defenses are pretty good.
You know the Lions want to, where no one has been able to do it. They want to be like, we don't care how much you blitz, we can do it. And maybe they can.
It's definitely possible.
I think the Lions passing game gets going as well.
McLaurin, unstacked, uncorrelated at the turn.
Oh, Deontay Johnson is the other guy who could be traded. And okay, so the Chiefs don't have a lot of cap space, but teams can always eat cap if the Chiefs will up the trade cost,
Yes, which is Deontay Johnson what you want if you're the Chiefs? I feel like Amari Cooper was a much better fit for what they need.
No, I think they need it. Like when I think of a Rashee Rice replacement, I think of Christian Kirk and Deontay Johnson.
See, they shouldn't want a Rashee Rice replacement. What they should want is they should want a Hollywood Brown replacement. They should want a Justin Watson fill in.
Okay, so you think that they need outside wide receiver and
can they win
I just
a
don't know,
fucking
man,
Super
because
Bowl
it's like,
playing this coward ball? Like, I don't know, man.
But dude, if you lose Travis Kelce as your only middle of the field threat other than Juju Smith-Schuster, like that seems like a big issue. So I would want some because that's how the Chiefs beat you. They just beat you with like Mahomes keeping the play alive, hitting the middle of the field. So I don't know. I don't think you want Kelce to have to shoulder the load in every regular season game.
You definitely don't. You definitely do not. You want him to be able to spend time with his girlfriend.
Yes, definitely. Oh man, what a weird world we live in with Taylor. Do you think Taylor Swift like wanted to get in on this NFL drama? Like, was she like bored, or it's just a love story?
I have no idea. Yeah, I got no idea. It's just someday there'll be a book written about it, and I'll be interested in reading the book. But right now, there's not any good information on like how any of it ever happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Wow. Like it's so funny. Other slates, Josh Allen goes in like the first round.
Yeah.
I'm gonna help you profit this slate.
Yeah, this is terrible.
We're gonna take care of QB and tight end. Boom.
I mean, that's got to be the worst. How did the Bills throw 20 times in this game?
I won't lie. I wouldn't look at the Titans game and say this is the establish the pass game. But hey, maybe they want to get
better your money than mine. That's what
maybe
I'll say about
maybe they're up 15 and they're like, yeah, let's get it going. We ran against the Jets. Let's get the passing game going.
You really are just saying everything I ever said about the Chiefs.
We got Amari. Cooper.
We'll get them going.
We got Amari Cooper on the team. I don't even know if Cooper's a lock to play. You definitely want him to play for everyone. But I don't know, man. Like,
He'll definitely be active, right? The trade was done on a Tuesday. He'll definitely be active.
yeah, like Joe Brady was like, yeah, I don't know if it's this week or next week. He's not here yet. And I was like,
No,
okay, well,
it'll be this week because
it'll be.
they cut MVS.
Yeah, but that was like, dude, in my heart of hearts, I think if Chase Claypool didn't get hurt, he would still be on the Bills team and he would have been playing some. So given a W there to hit him with the gritty, directionally accurate.
He should have just taken Tyrell Shavers.
Mac Hollins, dude. Dude, Mac Hollins has left like 70 fantasy points on the field. We could have been looking at like the Allen Lazard season for him.
Yeah. I mean, he could have smashed.
Where would you rank these games? Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, and Houston, and then Atlanta, Seattle, I would say is the big third game.
I've got Carolina, Washington number 1.
Really? Number 1. Okay.
Houston, Green Bay number 2. Minnesota, Detroit number 3. No, Minnesota, Detroit number 4. Seattle, Atlanta number 3. And Kansas City, San Francisco, like that probably is a shitty low scoring game, but there's so many good players in that game.
I'm gonna play. I like what DraftKings did this week too, where they gave you the $10 milli maker and the $100 milli maker. So I'll have like a $100 milli maker team with like a San Fran stack. I think it's more of an Ayuk week to me versus a Debo week.
The man versus zone, dude. The man versus zone.
You gotta get the man versus zone.
God, a guy's been.
That was was that person actually insulting my voice, or did he just write the wrong host where someone?
No, he really did. He really did get us confused. No, there was a guy on one of my videos who was trying to explain to me the man versus zone thing, and then I basically just asked him, so you're just trusting some sweaty nerd at PFF to chart the alignments correctly? And then there was no response, because that's where the man zone stuff falls apart, is the sweaty nerd does not know the individual assignments.
Well, and almost everyone plays zone also. Like the man, there's a reason why the Jaguars defensive coordinator is going to be fired. And it's because he was like, you know what we need? We need a bunch of man defense.
Yeah.
That will get the Jaguars back on top. Yeah, I don't think your rankings would be the chalk rankings. I do think Atlanta, Seattle would be like the Sims preference, where it is affordable salary-wise. I really don't know about Minnesota, Detroit, because it is so expensive to do like an Amon-Ra Jefferson stack, but you gotta have one. I think the Houston Green Bay game could fly under the radar, and the San Fran Chiefs game could as well. You know, like Purdy, Ayuk,
San Fran, Kansas City is going to project really bad. The only plays from that game are going to be the running backs on DraftKings.
Yeah. And then, like, if you wanted to do a Hurts, AJ Brown, and Allen Kincaid, like, all of that will be what, like 5%, 3% less?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it really, this Andrew Thomas thing really does suck, because Neighbors would have been a very, very fun play.
He's still a good play. Saquon Barkley revenge game.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely. I will say this: if Barkley doesn't get a touchdown here, what does this country come to? We can't get Barkley revenge on the Giants.
Wow, is Kupp playing this week?
He is. We'll probably know today if he's playing. He got in a quote unquote good workout.
I think Dark Sheep won the Dog Bowl a couple weeks ago. So part of the reason to draft early, guys, is to take the risk like this. Like last week, you could have drafted Joe Mixon. Even after Joe Mixon was active, I was still getting him in the 4th round. Also, I was drafting Bucky Irving very early in the week, which was, like he became a high drafted player, but nice to get him early.
Yeah. I took him a ton last week. God, we are in jail here. We're gonna have to do something. Like, we're gonna have to take Mason.
Well, I think Jameson Williams is a smash, and Mooney is also interesting.
I like 2 running back over 3 wide receivers.
Well, let's go
Oh,
JMO.
Chase Brown is the pick here.
Yeah. I mean, this. I also like Achan.
I like Achan too, and if he doesn't
Non
play, he's a swap.
non-contact jersey. Let's do JMO, and yeah, let's just get a bunch of brand guys here. We got Allen, Kincaid, we got Jefferson and Brown. Jameson was a brand guy for me in the past. RIP. I like it, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about 2 running backs for our team because it's going to be like, well, I'll keep something close to the chest because I think Xavier Worthy was defensible.
Sure.
It's not like a
Two
fist
running
pump.
backs. 2 running backs just fits the meta on Underdog. Half point PPR. Scoring feels like it's up because we've actually gotten some like passable NFL games, but it's still way down relative to like 5-year rolling averages.
Yes, it is, but it is up based on recentness.
And I think this particularly could be a 3 wide receiver week. There's a lot of wide receivers in. Really.
No, that's what I'm saying here. Yeah, it's like, I mean, like Josh Downs, too cheap. Like he's just better than Michael Pittman.
But yeah, I don't really think
Micah Richardson.
You just don't want him with Richardson.
They
Tough
could do
scene.
the 2 QB thing, man. Like just like the Steelers. Dude, JSN, man, he had a great week 2 breakout, but the JSN breakout crowd has been awfully silent since then.
16 targets in a game and then immediately going back to 0 is pretty crazy.
I was sweating.
I don't know.
I drafted 0 JSN in Best Ball Mania.
I really liked him. Well, did I really like him? How much did I have? I don't know. But theoretically, in my mind, I really like him.
I took because his ADP raised to like the 60s, but I had some in the 90s and like a DK high stakes, and I was like, all right, this is how I'll play JSN.
Yeah. Damn, Jacob can't do the DFS stream tomorrow. DFS video gotta push it to Friday. Tough scene for your boy.
Well, why can't he do it?
Well, Jacob has a real job. Jacob is a lawyer. He doesn't just hang out and draft.
As someone that co-manages with Jacob, news to me. We're chatting a lot.
Yeah. No, I mean he does always have his phone around. All right, we have.
Do you know
Justin
Jacob was
Jefferson.
on the Canada's Got Talent or whatever that was?
Yeah, really unbelievable. I had no idea. It's really incredible stuff.
I only found that out where Canada's Smartest Person. I only found this out when I invited him on my podcast and I looked up I usually Google the name to try to find a photo, and this is what I found. Jacob, a beer salesman.
With
Shout out
Winnipeg
Jacob.
Gold Eyes baseball team.
Smart guy. I never really got the story of that. I'll have to ask him sometime.
He just looks like such a.
He's from Canada. You can't be a lib if you're from Canada. You can't be a
lib from Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just pointing out things.
Tank
Dell versus Green Bay or Tyreek versus Indy? Tank.
I don't know. I feel like I could never sit Tyreek. Like I have Tyreek on a couple managed teams.
I would not sit him either. Yeah. But I'm riding like it felt bad seeing Tank Dell score as someone that drafted him so much and not playing him. So yeah. I've learned the lesson. Just play your guys. We were right in the summer. Do not hedge at all. Draft the players you believed in. You were right. It will get there. That is the way to play. Joe Burrow, last round pick. So you can wait on quarterback and get Purdy, Mahomes, Burrow. Feels pretty good.
Almost
to wait
like Josh Allen at the 2-3 turn. Not optimal.
Well, Josh Allen 40 points. See you later, nerds.
It's not even a good week for him to get 40.
Why not? Titans turn the ball over. They're just going to kick a field goal.
Titans have a good defense, but they can't score.
I don't know, man. Fucking Colts scored 20 on them.
That is true. Well, wait, no. 20 is not very many points. 20 is a very low number of points.
Yeah, but it's the Joe Flacco Colts. Let's pencil the Bills in for 30. I bet their over-under is pretty high.
I bet their over-under is 24.5. This will be who knows more ball. 24.5 is my guess.
That's a pretty high total. That will be like one of the highest of the week.
No, it's not. That is not a high total.
25, fifth highest on the week.
So I was right.
This
there.
is a
fifth highest.
This game, fourth highest on the week. Tied with Green Bay, more than the 49ers.
Who's gonna be our last pick?
Commanders are implied for 30. Jeez. So what? Jaden Daniels is gonna be like 28% owned.
Yeah. He's gonna be super chalk. Jared Goff, last round pick.
That's solid to me.
Yeah, it is.
I would rather do that than Richardson. So no one drafted Ray Davis. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think that's terrible, but
I also like Christian Watson a lot. Take your pick.
Yeah, I like Christian Watson more.
Okay. I mean, the reason why you draft Ray Davis is because he's becoming a third-round pick in these, second-round pick if Cook doesn't play. So you draft him early in the week, and you just let the cards roll out. But I like Watson, so.
The move, if you want to have Ray Davis exposure, is to take Q-tag guys you think are not playing, like Tajay Spears or whatever, or Aaron Jones.
Oh, so you sub them in? Yeah. But that requires you to actually do your swap rankings. All right. For Davis, for Liam, guys, do us a favor. Like our videos. Help us subscribe. We're both on the road to 6K. Maybe 5K for Davis. Don't know. Check out Liam Teaches Chess. Uploading some tournament review games there. Davis, tell the people what you got going on here.
Well, tomorrow, the DFS video is not going to be out until Friday now. So maybe instead tomorrow you will get a Rich Rebar NFL sports betting picks against the spread show. Liam, we got to do.
We'll get the parlay, but close it up and then we'll do the parlay.
Yeah. Just subscribe to Davis Mattek YouTube channel. Please like the video. Actually, if you really want to do me a favor, go check out the TakeCast YouTube. Trying to build up the second channel a little bit.
Yeah, why did you never do you? Like, I almost messaged you like 2 years ago. I'm like, hey, dude, you should be doing this as YouTube too.
Because it was not my product. I was doing the podcast for Sports Grid. They owned it at the time.
Have you done any of the streaks on Champions or Pick'ems?
Yeah, Josh Allen fucking ruined. I had 9 legs of a streak or 8 legs of a streak, and Josh Allen was my 9th against the Ravens. He ruined it.
Did you do the 10K one?
Yeah.
I had just discovered it. I forgot to do my picks last week, but I got a streak. I think this is like pretty fun and seems beatable enough. Like you only pick your conviction picks. So I'm definitely gonna be fooling around with that later. I'm gonna have my DFS video out Friday as well. But Davis, let's get a crazy 8-legger here. Start us off.
All right, let me pull it up. I am should we just take the free square, Justin Jefferson touchdown?
I almost went there. Wow, and they're just a flip there.
Yeah, they got us this week.
Let's look at what are Ayuk overs. Man, pretty high, 60.5.
Yeah. You have a profit boost on this one too. I do too.
I'm bad with that. Nothing on Ray Davis, not surprising.
Yeah, I'm taking Jefferson touchdown as well.
Yeah, they're not giving you anything with the Amari Cooper uncertainty. Let's
yeah, any of these teams that have legit questionables or whatever, you're not gonna have anything.
Yeah. Oh, I know what I want to get here. Let's get a Kirk Cousins. Man, they're only showing a little bit here today. I wanted to do Kirk Cousins rushing over.
Cousins rushing. Mahomes rushing over.
Man, 22.5?
No, 4.5 rushing attempts is really good. He always scrambles in these games.
Yeah, well, that's why I was trying to do the higher because I knew he'd be running this game. All right,
how many? This is a good question. How many rushing attempts do we think Mahomes had in the Super Bowl? Because that's the corollary.
7 to 10.
He had 9. Yeah. Mahomes rushing attempts higher.
Yep.
All right, perfect. What's your next one?
No,
Or
that was mine.
that was yours?
No, I was
All
trying
right.
to do the home rushing yards. Yeah.
Oh, let's do. Oh shit. They changed Drake May's touchdowns after 1 week. I guess that was smart of them. Brian Thomas Jr. Do you like receiving yards or touchdowns more for Brian Thomas Jr.?
Is he gonna get Gonzalez though?
Oh, I guess maybe he would. Yeah, okay, that one's probably not Gate. So let's find a Detroit player we like. Do we like David Montgomery touchdown.
Amon-Ra's the answer to the blitz for the Lions, so I like
Montgomery touchdown, right? I mean,
no, I think the Lions target Amon-Ra against the blitz. I think that's what the data.
Do you like? Okay, all right.
Like remember the Bucks blitz a lot, and that's the game Amon-Ra saw like 19 targets in. So if the Vikings blitz, I like his over everything. You want to do receiving yards on him?
Sure.
We'll do that as mine.
Okay.
I
will take Jaden Reed to record a touchdown.
Cash money. Yeah, I like the Kyron Williams touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't. I don't at 0.75.
Oh no, that's really brutal.
We're never laying odds for a player not to score a touchdown. It just feels uber bad. Man, okay, let's talk about the Spencer Rattler with no Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. Like, are these lowers generational?
What is? Oh damn! I was gonna say if there was means.
It is but means, but shouldn't we just take the? I'm doing lower on Rattler passing yards. Ugly Thursday game. I mean, no, I can't. 183. I just can't do it. I'm doing higher on Rattler rushing yards.
Yeah. How many? 21. How about Nick's higher rushing yards?
No, I like Rattler because with bad wide receiver room, good coverage, gonna get Rattler moving.
Sold.
All right. What's your next?
All right, let's go to Seattle and Atlanta.
Yep, gotta get
something. Let's take Drake London higher receiving yards.
Very good to me. I'm gonna throw in Chuba. Are they not giving us? Oh, they are. Okay, let's do Chuba. Man, you have to lay odds for a touchdown. All right, Chuba higher rushing yards. Which feels bad because if they fall, like I'd rather do receiving, but
how about we do Deontay Johnson receiving yards instead?
Dude, what if we short Nick Chubb to score a touchdown?
Just feels like you're rooting against a good guy. I don't know.
Okay, so if he doesn't play, it's voided, and then the Browns have to actually score a touchdown. Is he this healthy? Like, this is shocking to me.
It is a good line.
Shouldn't the higher be like 2.2 on this or something?
Yeah, that just feels like an unknowable. And they definitely, like, if they do get to the 1 yard line, they definitely want to be like, we got to get Chubb a touchdown.
Let's do maybe Jaden Daniels overs. I like that.
The one with Daniels I always like is when they do fantasy points for him, but there's none up. I think we do Jaden Daniels rushing touchdown.
I like that.
All right, that is 7. We need
we're at 8.
More.
We're at 8.
What did I miss?
I did Chuba rushing yards over.
I didn't do that because I don't like that.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna toss in a Bowers touchdown on mine.
I like Bowers a lot this week too.
Wow, look at you growing and learning.
Brother, I drafted Bowers a lot. I have like 20 Bowers teams.
Yeah.
Why can't I do? Oh. So I have to do a flex now?
Yes, yeah, when you do over 5.
Oh, interesting.
It automatically flexes it.
Oh, that's nice. And you get 2 wrong and still profit?
Yes.
Wow, and it went through. All right, guys, I'm posting the link if you want to tail.
Beautiful.
We have Chuba higher rushing yards, Jaden Daniels touchdown, London higher, Spencer Rattler higher 21.5, Reed touchdown, Amon-Ra higher receiving yards, Mahomes higher 4.5 rushing attempts, Jefferson.
That is my gold star lock of the week. Mahomes higher 4.5 rushing attempts.
The way it goes wrong is the Chiefs get up early. Although even then he wants the ice first downs.
Yeah. Yeah, he does.
Honestly, Chris, I forgot. I'll just have to do it on a different entry. I always forget about these things. Do you know anything about the WNBA, dude?
Literally nothing. No. The fever have been eliminated, so no, I got nothing.
I'll have to do this on my DFS show. All right, ladies and gents, for Davis, for Liam, we appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. One of my favorite days of the week. Peace out.